today's video, I'm going to show you how to raise your frequency and increase your vibration. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to raise your vibration to iconic levels so you can attract everything you want in life. Let's get started. Okay, so to get started with raising our frequency, we want to start with our physiology. Your physiology forms the foundation of your frequency. This is critically important. And when it comes to optimizing our physiology, we just go to the bare basics. The three most important things you need to do when it comes to optimizing your physiology and therefore your frequency are the big three of eating, moving, and sleeping correctly. If you can really nail these, you are going to raise your frequency so much that it's actually going to have this amazing effect on your ability to attract and manifest everything you want in life for reasons that I'll share with you a little bit later. Let's go through each of these one by one so you can really get this. So let's start with eating. Eating is really critical. What you fuel with your body with, that's what fuels your frequency, to be totally honest. So this is really important. Now the problem, of course, is that it's really difficult to eat healthy in North America and generally anywhere you live in the world. What is that acronym they call the standard American diet? Diet stands for, SAD, the SAD diet. It's really difficult. There's so much conflicting advice, first of all, when it comes to eating correctly. Should you eat paleo? Should you eat carnivore? Should you do keto? Should you be low carb, high carb, vegan? Anything in between. So that's difficult. Even if you want to eat healthy, it's just difficult to kind of know what's right and what's wrong. At the same time, we're just tempted all the time. I mentioned the standard American diet. Everywhere you go, there's food that's tempting you. You go into Starbucks, you go to McDonald's, you go to the grocery store. It's all this bad food just calling at you. So it requires a decent amount of discipline to be able to, resist those temptations. So this is critical that you do this because, it literally is a life or death situation in the sense that, many of the biggest causes of death in the world come directly from putting bad things in our body. These include heart disease, type 2 diabetes, certain types of cancer, and much more. And of course, just by doing these things, it's going to allow you to live longer. And of course, it's also going to allow you to have more energy, focus, and again, a higher vibration. And this higher vibration, this is that feeling of abundance that you have that actually can manifest more amazing material things in the physical world. This is really a cheat code. It's really a hack to manifesting. You don't need to spend hours visualizing or doing affirmations and whatnot. Just by getting in that high vibration state, and your diet is one part of that, is going to allow you to do this. And so how do you do this? So here's the thing. The number one thing to having a high frequency through your food is to stop eating low vibrational foods. It is really that simple. If all you did was stop eating low vibrational foods, you are going to start feeling much better, manifesting much better, and having a higher frequency. Okay, so what are low vibrational foods, I should say? They are basically processed foods. All processed foods are basically bad. Sugary drinks, do not drink your calories, as well as processed sugar and flour. If you just don't eat those things that I just mentioned, processed foods, sugary drinks, sugar, and flour, then you're literally 90% of the way there when it comes to eating a solid diet. And you're going to see how doing those things is truly going to work wonders with your life. And we are just getting started. All right, so the next way we can raise our frequency through our physiology is by optimizing our moving. This includes structured exercise as well as looking for opportunities to move throughout the day. So the reason why this is important is because the universe is always expanding. The universe is dynamic. So we need to align with the universe by moving our bodies with it so we can be aligned with that expansion, if that makes sense. The experts say that you need to do about 26 minutes per day of continuous movement to be a normal, healthy person. So let's round that up to 30 minutes. And what that means is that we want to be regularly exercising for at least 30 minutes per day. I would say 5 or 6 days a week is pretty good. And of course, you can take a rest day where you might do some active recovery, like going for a walk or whatnot. And that's going to give you a really good foundation, not just for your health, but also for your frequency. We also want to be looking for opportunities to move throughout the day when we're not doing structured exercising. That includes things like going for regular walks when you're taking a break. It includes using the stairs instead of using the elevator. Also, parking your car not in the front parking space. Maybe park a little farther to get a little bit of distance. You get the idea. Don't stress about this. The important thing is to be consistent with it. And like all things, if you haven't worked out for a while, if you're not in a consistent routine, then just start slow. I love BJ Fogg's example of how when he wanted to start a workout routine, he started by doing 2 push-ups per day, and he built in from there. So just get started, and then you're going to be in a really, really good shape. And these all build on each other. When we get our eating right, and we get our movement right, and then we get our sleeping right, things really, really, really start to fly. Matthew Walker says that sleep is the foundation of where all the fundamentals are built. It is the most important one. People argue what's most important, but I will tell you, full stop, 100%, sleep is critically important for optimizing your frequency. We are really in a sleep-deprived nation, a sleep-deprived world. They do not understand how much they are sleep-deprived. The average person gets way, way, way less than the allotted 7 to 8 hours of sleep that the experts prescribe. Honestly, tragic about this is that a lot of people actually feel like they're actually sleeping more than they are. But here's the thing. There's this idea of sleep efficiency, which states that we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, of actual sleep, but you're not sleeping 100% of the time when you're in bed. So a lot of people are actually in bed for 8 hours and think they're getting 8 hours of sleep. But if you really want to sleep for a solid 8 hours, you really need to be in bed for about 9 hours, if that makes sense. And if you want to be in bed, if you want to sleep for a solid 7 hours, you need to be in bed for about 8 hours, based on kind of the average sleep efficiency of the average person. The sleep deprivation that people have, it's really causing people to not have serious health problems, but also, lack of energy, lack of focus, which can lead to a lot of those low vibrational behaviors that we don't want. When you lack sleep and when you're low in energy, you might drink more caffeine. You might not have the willpower to risk those temptations. You might reach for the potato chips or whatever kind of pick-me-up you might be looking at. So basically, bad things happen when we are sleep deprived. On the other hand, good things happen when we are not sleep deprived. We have more energy, we have more focus, we have more resilience, we have more willpower, and we have a higher vibration, because that healthiness, those good feelings that we have, the way our body is rejuvenated, that expands, that leads to a high vibration. And so really, when it comes to how to actually sleep better, there's a lot of hacks and there's a lot of tactics you can do when it comes to sleeping better. But the first and most important tactic when it comes to really sleeping better is to really commit to doing it, to really prioritize your sleep and really realize that kind of the most important meeting you can have every day is the meeting you have between you and your pillow when you go to bed at night. And we really need to prioritize that. We really want to make sure that we realize why we're doing this. We want to realize what the benefits are. And we have to realize that when we're sleeping more, this makes us more productive. It makes us more efficient. It makes us more effective. It makes us more present. Basically makes us way better, way more high vibe. Everything is better when we're sleeping better. And once we make that commitment, then the second thing we want to do is we want to really reverse engineer what a good night of sleep looks like. We want to reverse engineer our kind of entire sleep system. So I mentioned sleep efficiency. So let's say your goal is so really what I would recommend is you want to be in bed for 8 to 9 hours. So let's say your goal is to be in bed for 8.5 hours. Let's split the baby. So then what you want to be thinking about, okay, so again, not super complicated. Let's say you want to wake up at 6:30 a.m. If we backtrack to that, 8.5 hours before, that would be 10 p.m. All right, so that means we want to be in bed with the lights off at 10 p.m. and then we're going to be waking up at 6:30 a.m. All good. So then what we want to be thinking about is, okay, so you're not just going to be able to just hop into bed at 10 p.m. We need to develop essentially our nighttime routine, which typically is going to be 30 to 60 minutes before we go to bed. I'm not going to get into all the details about this right now. There's in the future, I'll record longer videos on nighttime routines. There's a lot of information you can find here on YouTube when it comes to that. But the main thing is things you've heard before. We want to have our last meal at least 3 to 4 hours before we go to bed. We want to shut off all screens an hour beforehand. We really want to basically just get into our unwinding routine, get into our night clothes, kind of do all those types of things. You really want to be kind of in your bed, kind of be ready to sleep, really about 30 to 60 minutes before you actually go to sleep. So in this case, a good routine would be, we want to be sleeping at 10. So then let's say 9 p.m., that's when we begin our nighttime routine. Shut off all screens, unwind, not consume any food, not watch any TV, put our phone away, maybe do some light reading, talk to your significant other, and then we're ready for a good night of sleep. In my next video, I'm going to share with you how the universe actually tests you before everything changes for the better. So be on the lookout for that. If it is your first time here, please subscribe to this channel and be sure to like this video as well. I'd love to hear what you think about this video, so let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. This is Reich. Keep being awesome.